White Muslim guy, yes, that's his name, has the strangest reason for becoming Muslim. Today, everyone's converting to Islam, from blue-haired liberal TikTokers to conservative dudes trying to escape them, like this guy. Because he wanted to stay away from those things and he felt Islam brought conservative, wholesome family values. Yet apparently his own Christian grandfather had these same values.
And even as a Christian, the things that you originally were supposed to do and follow. My grandfather was a devout Christian, and I can tell you that when you take what he believed and Islam, it is almost exactly the same. The only difference is that Muslims don't believe Jesus, may peace be upon him, was the Son of God. He's a highly respected prophet. Like pretty much almost everything else is the same.
So why convert? Anyways, what appealed to him was he wanted to be protected from liberal Western values, which he calls being blue-haired and having infinite genders. In fact, he says he hated this more than he hated Islam. He then describes the good things in Islam that appeal to him, which honestly seemed like he just wanted a pro-male religion. So here's the real question. Was this about values or just control? Let's get into it. So to get started, we have a video called I Hated Muslims, Now I'm Muslim, My Revert Story, where he explains his journey to Islam, which started with his wife leaving him, converting to Islam, and then him deciding to convert as well. Maybe so they could get back together, or maybe because he was actually convinced. Islam rips apart families in this way, because a Muslim woman is not allowed to be with a non-Muslim man. So he might have just been doing what he had to keep his family together. We're going to start the story at this point, where he was petrified of her brainwashing the son with Islamic nonsense.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to learn about this religion. I'm going to figure out exactly how to fight this, because I do not want my son to be Muslim. Ain't no way, no how. So I started reading the book. And believe it or not, I didn't find much that I didn't like, but I was still very skeptical. And so I really thought about it. And I read the family values. I read the things in it about being a good person and giving charity. And I thought, okay, all right, this maybe I was lied to. Maybe America, and at least the Western society, lied to me a little bit about Islam. Maybe this isn't quite what they told me it was. Maybe it's not that bad, but I still wasn't sold.
Well, he clearly didn't do a deep dive, because if he had, he'd have seen Islam isn't just charity and community vibes. It's also packed with ideas that are toxic, especially for women, the very thing he seems obsessed with controlling. We often talk about women's issues here, but the issues women face in this religion are because of what young boys and young men are socialized and taught to believe about women.
You have to understand that 50 years ago, if a woman dressed like most women dress today, any person walking down the street would think she was a prostitute. They would look at her and go, oh, that's clearly a hooker. Like they would. But now all of a sudden you fast forward 50 years, it's liberating, it's feminist, it's like, no, you still look like a hooker. You just, all your friends look like hookers, so they don't judge you because they're all acting like hookers as well. Like that's the only thing that's changed.
From the way he talks about women being prostitutes and hookers over and over again, maybe the extreme modesty of Islam had some appeal to him. Also, when it comes to family values, does Islam offer a pure version of family values? What does Islam offer that cannot be found anywhere else or even created without being Muslim?
If you're looking for traditional family values or living like a traditional family, you don't need Islam to do that. Usually, in a lot of cases, traditional families, traditional living does involve some sort of religion, belief in God, etc., but it's not necessarily the only formula to living that sort of life.
Islamic marriage is inferior in that it allows misyar, divorce belongs only to the man, the woman inherits less, and so on. As far as letting his son into society and telling him how to live, that's still not a reason to become Muslim. Being protective of your child and the outside influences on them is a good thing. But you don't have to swing into the ultra-conservative religion of Islam to do it. You can homeschool your child, You can take them to a private school, move to a better community, or figure out something else. Also, as a parent, it's our job to be our child's first influence, the one they receive guidance and social skills training from. Islam is not perfect, and neither are the people. Having your child in an Islamic environment is not going to prevent them from being influenced by the outside world. In fact, the internet alone is the biggest enemy of Islam, something that can be accessed from within a child's home. Again, I'm going to ask, was this about values or just control? Notice his insecurity about his wife working with men. In this Instagram post, he's sharing an image of a boss comforting his female employee, and he says, "This is such a Western thing and is horrifyingly inappropriate. I thank Allah every day I'm Muslim. My wife would never even think of doing such a thing." This is an insight into his mind again. It's pretty clear from the comments from both non-Muslim and Muslim women that he's way off here. Absolutely not normal. Nobody would think this is appropriate. This is silly. Not acceptable in 99% of workplaces in the West. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Even before I converted, this would have made me feel uncomfortable, and I don't think it is the norm for one thing, that there is touchy touch. And also, why would a boss be comforting an employee like that at all? Not even sure why you're making this thing about your wives and what men have to deal with in the West. It's literally something no employer should be doing anyway, as it can be deemed as unwanted sexual advances, and it's not confined to the West, nor to wives. I'm thinking of Noman Ali Khan, of Wissam Sharif, and many other Muslim scholars and da'is that were inappropriate. You've made a bit of a mountain out of a molehill here. I live in the West and have never ever had a manager touch my hand like that, neither when I was married nor when single. You've taken one picture and made a whole story to go with it. A bit much, mate. So he watches daytime soap operas and blames Western values. What's next? He catches an episode of Temptation Island and thanks Allah his wife isn't a bikini model? Come on. I want to believe that he researched Islam with a blank slate state of mind, complete openness to Islam being good, bad, or having a mixture of both. However, I would argue that many converts, myself included here, often look into Islam with a preconceived bias. We are searching for something ourselves for whatever reason, and we badly want to believe that this is what we've been searching for and needing. Therefore, we're going to look at Islam with rose-colored glasses, a bit of grass greener on the other side situation. If you're enjoying this rebuttal to the white Muslim guy, you'll love what's coming next. Subscribe now. We love to deep dive and dissect social issues, and we have some exciting stuff coming, so stay tuned. Now back to the video. Muhammad is often portrayed as the kindest person that ever was, the most perfect human being. Let me ask you something. Did this man have good family values? In this hadith, Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl. What would have been a better role model is adopting a 6-year-old girl, not marrying her. He also married his adopted son's ex-wife, aka his daughter-in-law. He took away nights from one of his older wives so he could spend time with his younger wife. His wives got threatened by Allah because they complained he wasn't taking good care of them. There's just no way this is the guy you want to follow for family values. He was more like, what benefits me is a rule of law guy.
I thought about it and I was like, well, wait a minute. If I send my son out into the world, if I send him to school, if I let society tell him how to live, he'll have a bad day and they'll tell him that he needs to dye his hair blue and become a girl or an infinite gender or just something wacky that, look, if you thought I hated Islam, I hated that stuff even more. And so I thought about it and I was like, well, if he's Muslim, there ain't no way that's gonna happen. If he's not Muslim, it could happen. And so I thought about it and I was like, trans-Muslim, 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 Muslim. So I called my wife up and I said, listen, you can teach him Islam.
He talks about how Christianity and Islam have a lot of similar values according to him. So if that's true, why does he need Islam to inoculate his son? It's starting to feel like he just went along for the ride so that he can get his son and wife back, not because there was really any good reason to convert. I mean, heck, there's already so much pushback in America on the blue-haired movement, as he calls it. Even among the LGBT community, there's been pushback. Like this post I saw about the newer LGBTQ2S plus pink trans flags being replaced with the traditional rainbow pride ones in Toronto. If even the gays are pushing back, then why on earth did you need to indoctrinate your child in Allah Muhammad for this? Trump being elected was one of the biggest signs that America is actually swinging the other way now after going excessively in one direction. It's okay if you're worried about your child being taught things that you don't like. Lucky he has a son, the privileged class in Islam. What if he had a daughter? What if he has a daughter? She's going to be getting the short end of the stick, and he should think about that. In summary, this video just isn't about the white Muslim guy. It's about Islam. It's about the lie that Islam brings wholesome family values. We're both former Muslims, my wife and I, and we can both tell you that while Islam does have a bit of that warm, fuzzy stuff, all religions have that. But it's the bad parts that ruin it that you have to be careful of. And with Islam, there's so much of that. This guy claims he converted for the positive parts. But he already had all of that in his own faith tradition, which makes you wonder if he switched it up so that he could gain more control over women. He ran from one set of problems straight into the arms of another. Except this one comes with a prophet, a beard quota, and a legal right to marry children. But hey, at least his wife's boss won't shake his wife's hand, right? He clearly didn't do his research and he missed out on all the awful things here. And it looks like he's having a bit of a tough time here with all the rigidity and rules. If you saw a other video about all the complaints he had about Muslims nitpicking, you'd realize he definitely didn't realize what he was getting into. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, you're awesome. To our patrons, you're the reason we can keep exposing this nonsense. Huge shout out to Veltol for the generous PayPal donation. We really appreciate it. And to all the other patrons as well, to your continued support. This is Mr. and Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim signing out. YouTube thinks you like this video. Check it out.